forwards. He's moulted out one of the decks there, and that was the one that had the telemetry on it. So there's a left hand wing there, and that was last week right hand side, so he's gone right left. He's moulted one of the feathers out the train, and now he's just done his first deck. That was the left hand side deck. That one last year was quite a bit later, so he's it's not the same every year by the looks. He's been sleeping up here on this top perch with this astroturf on there. Certainly during the cold weather I know he goes on there because he's muted down this back quite often, but for some reason he's moved from there and he's been sleeping here, as you can see there where he's been muted directly behind. And although there's some bare bits of wood in here, he does seem to prefer to literally perch on the astroturf rather than a bare bit of wood. So I'll pop a bit of chicken down there that he will see from there. Come in, shut the hatch down, and I'll come and get him. Just weighed Woody, and he's actually weighing £1.14. Now he's been £1.14 right through the molt. Last season molt it was £1. Just going to turn him round because the wind's blowing the wrong way. It was £1.12.5, but for some reason this year he's definitely heavier, and it's not through overfeeding. For sure, you know, they'll only eat what they want to eat, but it seems like his fat weight is a little bit bigger than he was last year. At hunting weight he would snatch this out of my hand. I don't advise doing this, but you can see he's not footing like he would have been. When they're at hunting weight you've got to be very, very careful, because when these talons, leave that bone, when these talons get hold of you, or when they go, if you've got a bit of food like that and they go to get it, your reactions are a lot slower than what your hawk will be. But this is feeding the hawk at fat weight, and he's not really even bothered about eating that. I'm surprised he's even taking it. He's just picking about, but like I say, you wouldn't want to be showing him a bit of food like that when they're at flying weight, because when them talons get hold of you, or they're not getting hold of you, they're getting hold of the food, and you just happen to be holding on to it, they're not letting go until they've eaten that bit of food. Bird for you regulations in the UK now has changed over this last week. I think it was last Tuesday. We can now leave the hawk, if you want to, out weathering. But I'm just going to put him on this perch for 10 minutes today and just let him eat this little bit of chick. And then I'm going to put him back. Yeah, mate. But I can see this hawk doesn't really even need that. He's just eating it because it's there. I'm sure if he was in the wild, sitting up on a cactus, he probably wouldn't even bother going for a rabbit now. He's only eating that because I've put it right by his feet, and it's an easy thing to do. So there, you know, he's definitely a nice fat weight. So you don't want to be overfeeding them through the molt. So really what you want is you shoot, and then you want a peephole. If you're not having anything to do with your hawk, you need a peephole to keep an eye on what food is being left, or if they're stashing it anywhere. You don't want no rotten food in. When I know what this hawk's living on now, and he's sort of living on the amount he would daily if I was flying him. Once he's down to his flying weight, then what he's eating now would almost be what I'd be feeding him at flying weight, because he's only eating what he needs to eat, which is not a great deal. But so it's a case of seeing what your hawk's doing, what it's eating, and feeding accordingly. Don't overfeed, and certainly don't underfeed. But Woody is at quite a heavy fat weight now, 114 and a half, 114, and as I say, he was 112 and a half last year. He may drop off a little bit as the summer comes on, where he's probably losing a little bit of muscle, but I think he's just got a little bit bigger. Do you like it out here, mate? He's a little bit sort of stubborn coming out. He didn't really want to be picked up, but he's not over protesting, because he wouldn't have had that bit of food on my glove. So he's still quite happy, isn't you, Woody? So he doesn't mind me being around him, but he doesn't actually need me now to go hunting. And as far as he knows, there's food arriving in the mews each day, whichever way, and he could do with just being left alone, really. He's not, you know, they don't need your human comfort all the time, and they don't sort of seek out human contact. So let's have a look and see how Woody's doing with his tail, his train. So I know he's lost one feather out of his train. I think it was 2 weeks ago now, and you can see that just there coming down. So that's a sort of 2 inches now, 2.5 inches, and he's just lost one of his decks from there. Tomorrow he's going to have a bit of rabbit. So this is a frozen rabbit that he's caught. Now I'm just going to cut a piece off for tomorrow. So there's a little bit of rabbit for tomorrow. A bit of casting on there, so that's good for him. He's crop and casting. A little bit of meat. I'll probably put a chick with that as well, and that will be plenty for tomorrow. Pop that in Woody's fridge in the garage. The fridge is actually off at the moment. I'm just using it as a place to keep the flies on. The fridge is off. No point in having it on. I'm just using it for thawing stuff out overnight for him. Just changing his leash over. I used this one just to see if he'd jump off to get them chicks earlier on, so it was a little longer. But he weren't going to do that. He'd only eat them on my fist or if I put them on the perch. So he's really not hungry at all. Just eating to keep him going. And that's how it should be, really. Nice little rouse. Woody's quite content. So he's marked with these out so far. And here, this is from the last 3 moults that he's had. There's some of his juvenile ones there, quite different to the adult ones. I've just kept them all in there like that. actually got to get rid of this now because it's probably out of date, but that was Nectar Biotine. I used that on the very first season, but I don't think it's necessary. I think as long as you're giving them good varied meat diet, nice bit of red meat, good quality, got them at fat weight, they just molt out. They don't need that stuff. Alright, Woody? Are you alright, Woody? Hey? Good boy, isn't you? You're a good boy, Woody. Let's have a minute looking at the fish, Woody, shall we? You alright, bud? Woody will get a bit twitchy just sitting here like this because he hasn't sat on the fish for a while. He's quite happy sitting on his perch, but I wouldn't be surprised if in a minute he'd bait. I can hear him chatting away. Not overly keen, but I'll just sit here for a little bit. Very strange to see the hawk that we've been out doing this 7 days a week without fail, rain, shine, whatever the weather, and to see your hawk at that weight and how different he is. But what I will say is, don't worry, your hawk will return to that lovely loyal hawk. It doesn't take that long. You alright, Bo? Sit. Sit. Good boy. But I'm sure Woody trusts me in his own little way. Even though I'd be quite happy if I put him back now and left him. He likes to sit in the aviary and look out and see activity in the garden. Last week we had a baby shower here and there was about 25 people milling about in the garden, and he was quite enjoying it, hopping about in the aviary, having a look and seeing what was going on. Now he's had a little rouse in my fist, I'll put him away. Again, like my last video, I've just popped the hood on so I can remove his tackle without him baiting off the fist, because we're in his mews now and he would just try and jump off my fist to get on a perch. And to save that, pop his mews, pop his hood on, I can just remove all his gear and he'll just sit there like that. It's not going to go anywhere. Remove the hood and he can get off. Right, Woody? Good lad. And out he comes into his aviary. So instantly he's starting to have a little preen up. Quite comfortable. It's got a little bit of oil from the oil gland there. And sorting his feathers out, cleaning up. Hasn't fazed him at all, that. But like I said before, how I treat my hawk maybe it's different to how you want to treat yours. They're all different. They've all got their different personalities. So you have to read your own hawk, know what to do for your own self. It's the end result that matters. that your hawk's out hunting regularly and getting plenty of catches. It's hunting and getting the catches that will make your hawk comfortable and trusting of you. And if there is any screaming problems, they should go away as long as your hawk gets entered, which is the term used for catching his prey. They should be fine. But if you've got a Harris hawk, there's only one way to own a Harris hawk, and that is giving him the best life you can. Get him out hunting, doing what comes naturally, looking after them, don't pass them around. The Harris hawk is a fantastic hawk. They can hunt from the fist, they can hunt from the saw, they can hunt following on. If you get your hawk super fit and entered, and you take your hawk out regularly hunting, they are amazing. This hawk catches all its own food for the moult and for the hunting season. I supplement it with a few day-old cockerels, but generally he's eating what he catches, and at the moment he's eating what he's caught. They are an awesome hawk.